The resurgence of Italy. I want you to be honest here. When you put together a list of the favourites to win the Euro 2020, you definitely did not have Italy at the top. And if you did, congratulations to you and good luck spending your lottery money as well. As for the Azzurri, the journey to the apex of the European game has not been an easy one, but it surely was a great one. So let us look at how they went from not being on the plane for the 2018 World Cup to winning the Euros just 3 years later.
Team. These are the boys of Euro 2020, and they are Italy!
Finisce qui la serata più triste del nostro calcio, la serata più triste del calcio italiano.
Mi dispiace che l'ultima partita, diciamo, ufficiale sia coincisa con una non qualificazione mondiale.
It is pretty damning that a national team that won the World Cup in 2006 would be in huge trouble just to qualify for the same tournament just 12 years later. Well, it was precisely the problem that Italy were facing after the departure of Antonio Conte. Gian-Pierre Ventura was brought in to stabilise the ship and ensure that Azzurri get back to the tournament that they won in 2006. Even though Italy won all of their qualifying matches except the matches against Macedonia and Spain, they finished runners-up in Group G of the World Cup qualifiers. They had to get past Sweden to keep their World Cup dream alive. Unfortunately for the Azzurri, they lost 1-0, which meant that Italy would not be part of the biggest footballing event in the world for the first time since 1958. This also brought curtains to the careers of stalwarts like Andrea Bazzali, Daniele De Rossi and Gianluigi Buffon. That's not all. Ventura also left the role as Italian manager, and Carlo Tarvecchio left the role as Italian football president. The future looked really bleak for the Azzurri. But cometh the hour, cometh the man. Roberto Mancini looked to have discovered all the credentials that had once made him a Premier League champion with Manchester City. And the results under Mancini were better than many expected, since there was a bit of scepticism about the quality of the squad and the World Cup failure. In fact, the new Azzurri, led by Mancini, started winning match after match. The Euro 2020. By the time the Euros came, Mancini's men were enjoying a 30-match winning streak and were quietly building a momentum. The 2012 runners-up started the tournament with the opening day win against Turkey.
Buono l'inserimento di Berardi, può rientrare Berardi, va sul destro in cross, e autogol per l'1-0 dell'Italia. Spinazzola si gira ed è Ciro! Insigne! 3-0! Siamo una macchina da guerra! Siamo una macchina da guerra!
In the entire group stage, Italians made a statement to the rest of Europe that their breathtaking counterattacks and ability to close out matches will be very tough to overcome. Titans like Chiellini and Bonucci made teams overcommit in attack, and the Italians finished them off on the counter. In the group stage, they did not concede a goal and scored 7 themselves against Turkey, Switzerland and Wales, respectively.
Berardi prova ad accelerare, vuole entrare in area di rigore, Berardi in mezzo! Manuel Locatelli! 1-0! Poi la palla fuori, Locatelli! Manuel Locatelli doppietta! 2-0! È altissimo il pallone l'Italia, Ciro! Immobile! 3-0! Berardi cerca il primo palo!
The Italians only improved their level in the knockout stages. Even though they remained goalless in the 90 minutes against Austria, Federico Chiesa and Matteo Pessina stepped up to the plate to make the difference in extra time.
Cerca il secondo palo, Chiesa, la palla buona,
They conceded a goal in the second half of extra time, but they held firm to move into the quarter-finals for the third consecutive European Championships. In the quarter-finals, they met Belgium, who were coming off a big win against defending champions Portugal. Belgium, the first team in the FIFA ranking, were not only the favourite for that match, but also for the tournament win, along France. But the first half against Martinez's men was probably the best half Italy had played under Mancini. The goals which Nico Barella and Lorenzo Insigne scored put Italy in the driving seat.
Attenzione, c'è un contatto, il pallone però è ancora per Verratti, c'è sempre Immobile a terra, ma c'è gol di Nicolò Barella, 1-0. Ora Insigne rientra su Tielemans che lo perde, c'è la possibilità del destro, Lorenzo Insigne, eccolo il gol, eccolo la mattonella, eccolo il tiro a giro, eccolo il suo gol.
Even though Lukaku halved the difference before half-time, Chiellini and Bonucci were the core of the magnificent defence performance. They held out the likes of Lukaku and Kevin De Bruyne to ensure that they make the semi-finals.
Roma e lo andiamo! L'Italia con orgoglio torna a cantare l'inno a Wembley! Torniamo a cantare l'inno a Wembley senza paura, quasi dominando, eliminiamo il Belgio!
Another player that came to everyone's mind after the win was Leonardo Spinazzola. The Roma fullback was arguably one of the best, if not the best player of the Azzurri until his injury against Belgium. His dynamic game in both the attacking and defence aspect made him one of the best prospects of Italy. In the 80th minute, the fullback suffered an Achilles tendon rupture, which shall sadly keep him out until the new year. In the fight after the match, the entire Italian team was seen signalling for Spinazzola.
Spinazza.
Leonardo Bonucci stated that despite the injury, Italians have it in them to go all the way and they will try to win it for him. And as for Spinazzola, he stayed and watched every game, cheering his teammates throughout the semi-final and final. In the semi-finals, they avenged their 2012 final loss to Spain with a win on penalties. Federico Chiesa once again opened the scoring.
Fede, te lo meriti tutto il premio, sei stato bravissimo, sei stato fortissimo. Io quando ti ho visto caricare quel tiro, alzare la testa da sinistra col piatto destro, ho visto tuo papà, ho visto Enrico, ho visto la palla che girava, l'avevo vista già dentro prima, ero pronto a gridare gol al microfono ed infatti ti è riuscita.
Proviamo a farci vedere con Immobile che è andato sulla traccia opposta, ecco il pallone per Immobile, posizione regolare, ha tenuto la porta, c'è Chiesa in area di rigore, Chiesa!
And even though Morata cancelled their advantage, Donnarumma was strong to keep out of the Spaniards' penalty in the shootout to get Italy to the final.
Sì! Aveva sbagliato con la Slovacchia e sbaglia anche adesso!
Abbiamo sofferto ma abbiamo vinto. Corriamo insieme. Forza Italia! Italia, 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 Italia. Ci vediamo in finale, andiamo in finale.
Insomma, questo è un momento che
sarà molto importante per me, rappresentiamo l'Italia e quindi spero di avere domani quelle soddisfazioni che non ho avuto da calciatore, nonostante abbia giocato in squadre nazionali fortissime.
Dallo stadio Wembley di Londra, la finale dell'Europeo, Italia-Inghilterra.
The final against England at Wembley could not be a walk in the park for any team. Italy were playing against the whole nation in the final. Every touch of the ball from them was being booed. Every time they lost the ball, a huge cheer would greet them. And the final couldn't have started any worse for the Azzurri as Luke Shaw opened the scoring in the second minute. However, Italians once again let their mentality do the talking as they dug in and scored the equaliser in the second half through Leonardo Bonucci.
Bonucci per uscire dai blocchi, tenuto da Rice, la palla gira dentro! E c'è il pareggio di loro! Bonucci, 1-1!
With the pressure all on England after making a final in 55 years, Italians took advantage and clinched their second European Championships on penalties.
Grazie signore che ci ha dato il calcio! Grazie signore che ci ha dato il calcio! Che ci fa abbracciare! Che ci fa sognare! Che ci fa abbracciare! It's coming to now! It's coming to now! Campioni d'Europa! Campioni d'Europa!
He's coming, bro! He's coming, bro! He's coming, bro!
Arriva il capitano che prende la medaglia e per tutti quelli che hanno sofferto, per quei mesi terribili che sembravano senza speranza, per le persone care che non ce l'hanno fatta, che lo sapete che sono lì accanto a voi, per chi ha rubato 10 minuti di sonno accasciato sulla scrivania, pronto a ricominciare per salvarne un altro, per quelle bare sui camion, per i giorni passati a sentire solo ambulanze e per il coraggio di riprendersi, di lottare, di tornare a sorridere, per il coraggio di stare insieme, di andare sui balconi ad esultare come faremo adesso. Siamo campioni d'Europa! Alzala la coppa, capitano, alzala!
They say that tough times make tough people, and as for the Italians, that is exactly the case. The tough circumstances they faced as a young group brought them together and prepared them to rise up to the occasion when other players crumble under the pressure. As for the rest of us, this is a useful reminder never to disregard the Italians in an international tournament. They always find their way,